Hello guys and welcome to an NGB gameplay video. I'm Ben and this is Astro's Playroom on the PlayStation 5. I've got to get used to saying PlayStation 5. It's just strange right now. Yes, so this is kind of designed as a little game to show off the haptics and the sort of abilities of the DualSense. So let's go for it. Start off on this little beach here. Now I have already played through this section, but we are just playing through it again to get some footage. So, first thing to notice, this game is filled with little references to PlayStation games from across the generations, really. And this is basically, yeah, kind of a demo more than anything else. We've got a huge Loco Roco there, and if you punch him, they all turn into little Loco Rocos, which is great fun. So just go to this little island. Oh, I've found an artifact. Now these are sort of dotted throughout the levels, and you get little artifacts to show off, you know, bits of PlayStation history essentially, which, you know, is kind of nice. So, but yeah, I mean, my first impressions of primarily the DualSense rather than Astro's Playroom, because I can only, you know, we can't really go through too much there. But the DualSense, the first thing that I've noticed is that the haptics are something else. Like it kind of feels a little bit like the 3D Rumble. Is it 3D Rumble? That's in the Wii. Sorry, in the Wii, in the Switch. But the immediate thing that you notice around Astro's Playroom is, like, when I run along, like, his right foot rumbles the right hand side of the controller, the left foot rumbles the left hand side of the controller, but it's just a little tiny, like, pit pat. It's not a full on rumble like you get in like the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox, for example. It's just like a nice. It lets you know that Astro's there, kind of thing, in your controller. Yeah, we'll just go through some stuff here. But yeah, I'm honestly, my first impressions of, as I say, primarily the controller. It's just like, it's so impressive, this technology, and I just hope that, you know, there'll be lots of developers that use it, because I'll explain when we get to the parts that have it in use. But there are some really impressive use cases in this area in particular with Astro's Playroom. So let's just go into the main area of Cooling Springs, which, as you can see, is centered around a huge fan. It's almost like it's something to do with the PlayStation 5 itself. So you can really feel when the rumble's going on. You can really feel that sort of, you know, the strength of the sand that's hitting you. And when you pull on these cables, for example, you can feel the tension in the cable itself as it sort of gets stretched to almost breaking point. So, but you know. Here we are, we've got some rubber ducks, another nice little PlayStation reference. But wherever you see this little cameraman, there'll be a PlayStation reference somewhere around. So here, for example, is a PlayStation reference for Fat Princess, a game which I don't think would probably have that title these days. But let's see if I can get up onto these diving boards. There we go, so head out to the end. Pew-ing. Missed the big one. But yes, there's a lot to like about Astro's Playroom so far. Again, we can only really show you this this one area of it, but how do I get up there? Oh, okay, yeah, that's with this. So the Springy Spa is where I'm going next. So you jump into your little suit here, swipe up on the touchpad, and now I'm a little frog. Now this is where the adaptive triggers come in, because until now the L2 and R2, so the shoulder buttons, or the triggers, sorry, have essentially just been, you know, normal triggers. They've felt like the DualShock 4, but as soon as you enable this this suit, there's some real resistance in the triggers. Like, it's hard to describe it. It's not like there's a sudden like click or a sudden change in, you know, that's immediately noticeable in terms of the I don't know, like how they initially feel, I guess. It's very subtle in the way that it applies the change, but at the same time, like, it's really noticeable. So, for example, like it doesn't, the triggers don't rumble, which I know a lot of people kind of assumed that the adaptive triggers would be, in, you know, similar to the triggers from the Xbox One, which I think they were called the impulse triggers. The impulse triggers, basically they like rumble when you go over a rumble strip in Forza or something, for example. But with this, you know, with the adaptive triggers on the PS5, it literally just changes like how the trigger reacts to your fingers. So here, if I try and press the trigger with the same amount of force that I normally would, like, nothing happens. It just feels like it's a solid barrier against my finger. But then if I really push down, that's when it starts to do the sort of, you know, pushing the character down. So it's like you're having to put physical pressure on the character, which, you know, is kind of represented through your hands on the triggers. So now, jumping out of the frog suit, Astro comes along here, and again, literally every single time. Oh, hello, there's Solid Snake, or as the box says, solid state. Very clever. But yeah, as you go through the level, you can really feel the use of these adaptive triggers. I mean, now I'm just pressing the triggers, you know, like I normally would do on a DualShock 4, and it doesn't feel any different whatsoever. But then the first time that you sort of go into the bits where you use the adaptive triggers, it suddenly feels really hard to press them down. Now, it's so difficult to describe and to kind of say, oh, you know, it's so easy to say you need to feel it, you need to experience it, but it's true. Like, you can't really describe how this feels until you've actually, you know, gotten your hands on it and noticed the immediate difference. And like I say, there isn't a click, there isn't anything that suggests, oh, hey, yeah, this has changed now. You know, it just happens. You know, like if you're, I think one of the uses that's been mentioned has been in Deathloop, which has been obviously delayed until next year. But when your gun jams in Deathloop, for example, the trigger will just become incredibly hard to press. And having experienced that in Astro's Playroom, I can see how that would happen. You know, it seems like it's going to just be a moment where you've all of a sudden just got, oh dear, fell in the water. You just got this incredible resistance all of a sudden. But one thing to note here, and I've just popped, brilliant. One thing to notice here is, again, I'm trying to describe it, but it's the feeling of skating on ice, it doesn't feel like normal rumble. It feels incredibly subtle, but you know that there's something going on. It almost feels like the controller's kind of slipping and sliding, which obviously, you know, it's supposed to because it's on ice. But again, it's a small amount of vibration. It's a small amount of the haptic feedback. But one thing to mention as well, obviously, you know, the DualSense has speakers similar to the DualShock 4 did, and I think maybe the DualShock 3. Did the DualShock 3 have a speaker? No, sorry, the DualShock 4 was, you know, DualShock 4 had a speaker. It's been so long, like I'm just so used to, you know, playing the different PlayStation consoles at this point. But what I might actually try and do, oh yeah, sorry, this bit here. So this bit here, you actually blow into the controller, or you make a noise around the microphone, and that gives you, you know, the movement of the fan. Again, nice and cool, you know, cool, nice little feature. Oh, so yes, the microphone, sorry, the speaker has kind of carried over from the DualShock 4, but the microphone's a new one, so you can use the microphone as a chat microphone if you're in a party, or if you know, certain games want to use it, then you can do. But this looks familiar, doesn't it? What's behind the door? You almost became a Jill sandwich. So yeah, it's you know, it's just a nice, cool little piece of tech that's in the DualSense. But honestly, so far my impressions of the DualSense, and again immediately, like it kind of felt difficult to press that button down. Then, you know, to press the trigger. And I'm moving. Excuse me. I'm moving the character using the gyro functions. So this is, you know, this is kind of tilting left and right so far. And yeah, to jump, it's kind of hold the trigger down, feel that resistance, and then, you know, let it go. Oh, no, I've got that. There is a puzzle piece up there, but I've already got that, so I'm not going to bother trying to go through it again. But yeah, honestly, the DualSense is kind of I'd say almost, you know, I know that they've been touting it, but it's kind of the secret weapon that I think so far, from, you know, from what I've seen in this. Because it actually does change the way that, you know, that you can interact with a game. Sorry, I'm just trying to get a trophy here because I know that it's possible. There we go. Keepy uppies. There we go. So yeah, like it just feels so much different. And the interesting thing for me is that if you every time I do this, if you have, you know, this kind of resistance in the triggers, you're sort of, it almost becomes second nature after a while, because you get used to having to do it with these, you know, with these secondary characters. Popped on the spikes. Brilliant stuff, Ben. Well done. But the thing is, as soon as you die, the resistance goes away, so it immediately becomes your DualShock 4 kind of feel, and it almost feels like really floppy, which is just strange in its own right. It really is. I don't know what that is referencing there, by the way. The cutting. So whatever it's cutting there, please somebody let me know in the comments what game that's supposed to be, because I have literally no idea. So there will be some games that you kind of don't recognise. I know for sure there's one or two that I've seen in this so far, but most of them are fairly iconic, you know, PlayStation franchises, or, you know, just gaming franchises. Again, another puzzle piece there if you've not got it. And jumping onto here. There we go. Here's Astro. So you just heard that there? That's the kind of... You go, that noise, that sounds like the PS3 noise. And again, like, you know, you can sort of hear just how easy it is for me to click those buttons. It's... The shoulder buttons just feel like normal shoulder buttons now. Whereas, you know, 10 seconds ago they felt really difficult. Now I know this is, you know, it's an early, we're getting early access to this, and people are going to call me a Sony shill or whatever. But like, genuinely, the addition of the adaptive triggers. Oh look, the fountains are the super slim PS3. That's cool. But yeah, the adaptive triggers are like, they genuinely feel to me like a huge deal. It's sort of it legitimately changes the way that the game is the games can be played. So I'm really excited to see what developers do going forward. And there we have, look, one of the artifacts is a PlayStation 3. I'm genuinely excited to see what developers do, because as soon as that comes up, like, this is me hitting the triggers with the same level of force, so you can't actually hear because they're not going very far down. You can open up the, you know, you can interact with the stuff there. But yeah, like, legitimately impressive. So that is our brief preview there of Astro's Playroom on the PlayStation 5. Thank you for joining me, guys. If you have enjoyed this video, please leave us a like, drop us a comment, and you know, as always, subscribe to the channel because it will help us immensely. And we will see you guys next time. Thank you very much, and we'll see you then. Bye bye.